Hi everyone, welcome back. This time I'm going to be putting all of these things onto this thing. So what is this lot? Right, quick run through. We've got a pair of newly refurbished front calipers, front brake pads, front pad fitting kit and some shims, new set of flexi hoses, rear shoes and fitting kits and rear cylinders, and that's the gear change, coupling and bush there, because the gear change is really sloppy. So that's kind of the odd one out here. The rest of it's all brakes, and that is the gear change. The car itself is a 72 Volkswagen Type 3 Squareback. If you look through my old videos, you'll see one where I have a bit of a walk around with it. Quick history of this car: I used to own it many years ago, and I sold it in 1992 and spent the next 28 years looking for it. I found it last year in July, managed to buy it back, and I've driven it about 6 miles since then, and it's now May the following year. One of the reasons I haven't driven it very far is the brakes are terrible, so that's going to be resolved this time, and then hopefully I can get some miles on it. Starting with the front brakes, first of all get the car up in the air safely using a jack and axle stands, or if you're lucky enough to have access to a 2-post lift, use that, it's much more secure, and get the wheel off. You'll need a 19mm socket to undo the 2 bolts that hold the caliper to the spindle, and a 14mm open-ended spanner to undo the brake flexi hose from the actual back of the caliper. Now, I'm going to undo the hose first without undoing the caliper, because obviously that means that the caliper is held nice and solid, and it's easy to undo this. This might well be seized on, I haven't tried to do it yet. Well, not too bad. So I've just broken the thread there just to get it loose. I'll not take it the rest of the way off, but at least I know I can do now. So the next thing, 19mm on the 2 big bolts. Oh, the other thing is, you need to put a tub down on the floor to catch the brake fluid that's going to come out. You can't avoid that, so you might as well try and catch it. Tight. And try the impact on then instead if you can get it in. Yeah, that one fits there. One done. Bottom one is there. That is tight. That was really tight, but it's off now. And now, because I undid the flexi hose, that'll just bring the caliper falls off, and then I can unscrew it from the flexi there by hand. You can see that nice and easy. Drop and make sure that the tub is catching the brake fluid, and that's the old caliper off. It's as simple as that. The 2 19mm are there, and the brake flexi goes in there. This is the back of the caliper, that's the wheel side. Very easy. And now I've got a new caliper to go on, so I can get rid of this, and the pads and everything can all go. Before the new caliper goes on, I'm going to tidy this up. The hub itself is all rusty, but it's only surface rust. The disc, although it probably looks quite bad on the video, hasn't got any grooves in it, it's just kind of scratched from lack of use really. So I'm going to clean it up, paint this, Most likely I'm going to get a little bit of paint on the brake surface here, but that doesn't matter. The first time you use the brakes it'll burn that off, so that's all fine. So this just needs sort of wire brushing and a squirt of paint over it. I'm going to do this and I'm doing the other side at the same time, but I'm not turning the other side because it's repeated this side. So yeah, I'll get this cleaned up, get it painted, do the other side off camera, and then we can get the caliper back on. Right, just got the studs masked up and the centre cap, which has got the speedo drive in it. This stuff is just, see if we can get that, just black heat resistant paint. Used it a few times for this kind of thing, it's perfect. So just give it a nice light coat. Right, perfect. I've got it all over the disc, so I'm going to let it dry and then I'll sand that off. There's a bit more than I expected to get on there, but that's fine. Sand it off and then it'll be all nice and neat and ready for the new caliper. Right, painted the hub, cleaned the overspray off the disc there and taken the masking tape off. That looks really smart now. So the next step is to take the flexi hose off, replace that, and then the new caliper can go on.
Now these flexis don't actually look that bad, but I've got new ones, so I might as well change them. So the first thing to do is undo that nut, and then the thing is held on then with like a horseshoe shaped clip here. It's a bit rusty, so I'll give it a bit of a wire brush first and squirt some penetrating fluid down that thread there, give it a fighting chance of coming off, and then we can get this off and get the new one on. Forgot to say, that's an 11mm nut there. So the horseshoe clip there just pulls off, like so, and drops on the floor. I'll pick that up in a second, and then that can just unscrew from there. I'm not sure I'll do it by hand, oh yeah, by hand, like that. And I'll just catch the flexi so it doesn't fall on the floor and splash into the brake fluid that's already in that tub. There we go. That's it off. Get rid of that. There's the lovely new one that can go straight on. Now, they are different lengths, the front and the back. The front ones are slightly longer than the back ones. Sorry, front ones are slightly longer than the back ones, so obviously this is the front one. Put that one on first, and then the way to do it is actually fit the end to the car, not to the caliper. And I'll show you why in a minute. But yeah, the car end goes on first. But the first thing I'll do is I'll pick that horseshoe clip up that's there and give that a bit of a clean up on the wire wheel before it all goes back together. Well, that's it cleaned up. Before I put it back in though, these things have a little bend in them like that so that it holds it tight. Swap hands with the camera. So it goes in like that, and because it's got that bend in it, it'll pull it all nice and tight. So just give it a little tap with a hammer. There we are, that's good and solid. So now, oops, dropping stuff. That nut can be tightened up there, and if the hose is turning, it's a 17mm spanner underneath there to hold it still. So I'll tighten that up because that's going to take 2 hands, and then we can get the caliper fitted.
Right, if I was to bolt the caliper on now and then put the flexi hose onto the back of it, I would twist the flexi hose when I'm tightening it up. So the thing to do is to actually screw the caliper onto the flexi hose first, carefully, so I don't drop it, like that, get it nice in position. Just finger tight because we can nip it up when it's all sort of in the car. And then making sure that the flexi is not sort of coarse or compromised anywhere. And put the caliper onto the spindle. So, try this first. Right, problem here, I just let down with it for a second. Problem here is that I've got the steering turned and it won't reach. So, there we are. Slide that onto there. Lovely. Got the bolts from before, I've cleaned them up, put a bit of thread lock on them. Get that one started. And then the other one underneath. It's there. That's it, tighten those up. I'll check what the torque is and do that separately because I'm not sure what it is at the moment. So for now, we'll just nip them up through the ratchet.
And there it is, all bolted up. No pads in it yet, put them in a second. Quick correction though, I realised it's better to screw the flexi hose into the caliper before doing the connection there, because that connection won't twist the hose. So that's an easier way of doing it. Forget what I said before, do it that way. Screw the hose into the caliper and then onto the thing there. Right, the pads can go in next. I've just had to take a little bit of the finish off there and off that side there because it was rubbing on the caliper. Only really just a build-up of paint or powder coat or whatever. So I've cleaned that off. I'm going to put some copper grease down those two sides and across the back there where it rubs against the piston. People say you're not supposed to do that, but I've been doing it for years and never had a problem. I think it's one of those things where there's different opinions and they're both right. But anyway, I'm going to stick some copper grease on this and on the other one and put them in the caliper. There we go. It looks like a lot, but it's only a very thin smear on the two sides and on the back there. Do the same on the other one, obviously being very careful not to get any on the actual friction surface itself. And then this can go into the caliper. Hang on while I swap hands with the phone. Right, there we are. So that goes in, obviously, because I've seen it done before, with the friction piece towards the disc. So that just slides in there nicely, like that. I'll just do the other one and then put the pins through. I'll do the one off camera and then put the pins through and show you how they go in. Right, got the other pad sat in there. So now onto the fitting kit. There's two pins and this anti-rattle spring thing. So get one of the pins and put it through the front of the caliper. Sorry, no. Through the back of the caliper, but the hole is slightly bigger. Through the pin, through the pad, through the other pad, and then through the hole in the front of the caliper there, and tap that into place. And then the spring goes on. Oops, sorry. The spring sort of tucks under it there. Sorry, aim the camera properly. Right, the spring tucks under that, there, like that, and then under the top one. There's no chance of me doing this one-handed, so I'll put the other pin into the top and then come back to you in a second. Right, that's the two pins in, top and bottom, and the anti-rattle plate thing. And then it's just a case of tapping that in all the way, and that one, and that one all the way in. I'm going to have to do this two-handed, so I'll put the phone down again. Sorry about this. Right, there we are. I had to use a punch and a big hammer just to drift it all the way in. So that's all nice and solid now, and nothing, well, it's binding very slightly, but that's more because of the rust on the disc than anything else. First mile and that'll all clear, so that's all good. I'll do the other side, check everything's nice and tight, and then get on to the back ones over there. So yeah, that's the front ones done. I'll see you at the back in a minute. I did say at the beginning of the video that I was going to do the back brakes as well. When I took the drums off, the shoes that were in there were actually pretty good condition. and the new cylinders that I bought were actually wrong as well. So those two things meant that I didn't bother doing the back brakes. Decided to leave well alone. So yeah, I'm going to end the video here. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please click on like and subscribe, leave a comment and all that, and I will see you next time. Cheers, bye.